Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Check the gear and make sure it's lined up, boy. So we're back a little bit, little. Hopefully, we do better than Mississippi State did yesterday. I tell you that. They didn't even show up. What was that all about? They don't like their coach.
I have no idea. I mean, Mike Leach talked all that crap, and then you got it done to him on what he wanted to do to them.
They got whooped. That's terrible, man, Sean. We were way off on that one. And then we lost on, I mean, you double dipped on Cleveland, right? You paid on both ends of that one. You killed the over.
Yeah, the first quarter when Cleveland was up, I was like, all right, I just have to worry about the over. Then the Pelicans started scoring, and I was like, all right. And then they were getting way too close, and then it was just.
But, those 19-point quarters, Sean, I tell you, anytime there's a quarter that goes under 20, it makes it very difficult for the over to come in. And I don't know, Cleveland scored 37 points in the first quarter, and they barely, what did they score? Like 100, and did they even get 100? Like a 102?
Yeah, something like that. I think they scored, it was 39-20 after the first quarter.
Yeah, and then they scored.
And then the second quarter, they
70 points the rest of the game.
Yeah, the second and fourth quarter, I don't think they scored 20 points.
Brutal. And then we talk about that all the time, how the NBA game is just, sometimes it's poetic and sometimes it's putrid, right? And when you get those 20-point quarters, it's absolutely putrid. So tonight in the, across the board in the NBA, any kind of injuries that you're looking at there that obviously everybody's still kind of on the COVID, everybody's testing positive.
Yeah. So Charlotte, you still have Bridges and Washington out. Indiana, you got Malcolm Brogdon, questionable. Detroit's got a whole list of people: Kate Cunningham, Jeremy Grant, Corey Joseph, Isaiah Stewart still. Knicks, Derrick Rose again. Clippers, you still got Batum. You got Brandon Boston Jr., a rookie that's actually been playing really good. Paul George is going to be out for a while. Reggie Jackson's still out. Atlanta's got a few players out yet with Bogdanovich, Collins, and Hooter. Lou Williams, Chicago, Lonzo Ball, and Carrasco again. Lakers, Anthony Davis is out, and then Rondo's out still. Memphis, Dillon Brooks. Miami, I don't know. Did they cancel this Miami Spurs game yet? Miami is desperate.
Yeah.
They got 7 active players.
I haven't seen it, no.
Their list, Bam's still out. Jimmy Butler's out. Deadman's out. Lowry's out. Morris is out. Strauss is out. Tucker's out. Vincent is out. I think they had 7 active players. They're actually signing G League guys to 10-day contracts, whoever can get there fast enough to try to get this game in.
Maybe we should go to Miami. Just sign a contract to be on the bench.
Yeah.
Give some moral support. Come on, man. Make that shot.
We'll be the 8th man. And,
Yeah, I think we're like the 12th man, Sean. I don't know that we'd be the 8th.
Well, if we're the 8th man, we only have 8 active players.
We're like those movies where there's nobody else left to go, and the coach looks down at the nerdy kid at the end of the bench who's looking at him very eagerly. Come on, coach, call me. And he's screw it. We'll play with 4 players.
Yeah, they can make a movie out of it and all. We can make it. Oklahoma City still has Beasley out, Giddey out, Robinson out, Suns with Ayton and Crowder out. Jazz, Donovan Mitchell still out. Dallas, Doncic is still out. Hardaway Jr. is still out. So a bunch, and probably more to be added by the time we get to game time.
Bunch of outs. All right, well, that's good. Let's look at some of the, yesterday we talked about the NBA with these COVIDs. What you're finding along with this COVID is just enormous people taking big money bets on one side of the equation here, Sean. For example, you look at the Knicks-Pistons game, 98 cents of the dollar on the Knicks to beat the Pistons, 91 cents on the dollar for that game to go over. The Hornets, 99 cents on the dollar to take out the Pacers against the spread, 99 cents on the dollar that game goes over, 87 cents on the dollar that the Clippers cover the line against the Celtics. You have 93% of the money on the Hawks to cover the line against the Bulls. 88 cents on the dollar for Memphis to beat the Lakers. 91 cents on the dollar for that game to go under. 99 cents out of a dollar for the Suns to cover 15 against the Thunder. 90 cents on the dollar for the Trailblazers to cover the number against the Jazz. I have a little different opinion there. We'll talk about that later. 90 cents on the dollar for the Spurs to beat the Heat. So, I mean, you've got big lopsided money bets on one side of the equation here, probably predominantly because of the fact that you have all these people who are ill.
Yeah, and like the Spurs game, I don't even see it on DraftKings anymore. So they must have taken it off. One, either it was canceled or it might be canceled, or two, they just don't want to take bets on it anymore because everybody's hammering San Antonio, and they're most likely going to crush Miami with their G League team out there.
It would be funny if the G League team won, right? What does that tell you about the other side? All right, Sean. So what do you lack? What do you not lack? What do you like in the National Basketball Association?
So I'm going to go the Grizzlies giving up 5.5 to the Lakers. The Lakers are on a back-to-back. They struggled against the Rockets. Actually, you got a little lucky there with covering the spread there.
They were ahead the whole time, Sean.
But they
were ahead the entire game. And then when the B team came in, Houston made a little bit of run. And when the A guys got back in, that's the way NBA games go.
The Rockets were going to be up with, 2 minutes left, and there was a goaltending, and I guess they challenged it. And, of course, LeBron was the one doing the goaltending, so they reversed it. Now, I didn't see the play. I just watched it.
LeBron's allowed to goaltend, right?
Yeah. So I just found the irony of it that it was LeBron. So, of course, it was going to get overturned. So I'm going to take Memphis. Last game, they looked a lot better with Morant back, so hopefully
the fans in Memphis have been booing him and stuff. You're not happy about that.
Well, he had the game winner last game, so
now they're
on the road.
They're like Sean. So when he's doing good, I love Teddy Bridgewater, and when they're doing bad, God, he sucks.
Yeah, there you go.
So we will for this point forward call the Memphis crowd the Sean fans.
Another one I like is Dallas giving up 1.5 to Sacramento. Sacramento's on a back-to-back. Dallas has played all right with Doncic out. Porzingis has been good.
1.5 on the road, you're going to get minus 110. In the Memphis game, 5.5, Sean. The line's moving quick, too. So, and it's going up and up and up. So the Lakers at plus the Memphis minus 5.5, I can get for minus 110. That number is going to 6.5 in other books already. So you're seeing that line moving the way of Memphis. I'm in agreement with you on Memphis, Sean, which scares me because the last two things we agreed on yesterday, you jinxed us.
Yeah, hey, I made the picks first and then you followed. So maybe you jinxed me.
No, it's the other way. You jinxed me. For sure. There's no other way, Sean, but for you to jinx me. Is that it for you in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I lean Boston over the Clippers. Boston's got some players out, but the Clippers have a ton of players out, and they just don't have much there on the road. But I just couldn't do it with the Boston's with their limited roster. And then the Thunder plus 14.5 looks like a lot with Ayton out and Crowder out, but the Thunder's got some players out too, and the Thunder just aren't very good. So that's all I got.
Well, I'm going to take Utah against Portland because I know that line said that all the money was on the other side, but you got one of the best offenses in all of basketball, and most of their main players in Utah are on the in the lineup. They're not out ill. That's according as long as Donovan Mitchell got on the airplane. But minus 7.
Donovan's out.
He's out.
That's what I had.
I just looked. I looked it up earlier in the day. I didn't see his name on the list, but maybe since he's out.
At the 3:30 injury report on NBA.com, what I just went off, Donovan Mitchell was out, left low back strain.
Now
that changed.
Yeah, so with that being the case, I'll probably come off Utah then because as long as he was in the game, but I still think that offense is better. The other number I'm going to do in here, Sean, is I'm going to do the over in the Bulls against Atlanta. They just played and scored like 290,000 points against each other. I have a theory. I meant to bring this up the other day because we were talking a little bit about how we're starting to see some of these games creep up, right, in total. And if you remember last year with the COVID, when it first started, when they were playing in the bubble, all of these games were going over by a lot. I mean, they just weren't even playing defense. And I had a theory last year that the reason they weren't playing defense is because they didn't want to get close to one another in the COVID age, right? So go ahead, play defense. You make a shot. We're going to social distance. That's going to be our social distance defense. And I feel like they're doing that again right now with all these players getting sick and stuff. So they're not really getting very physical until they kind of have to at the end of the game. And that's why you're starting to see some of these scores creep back up again. So I feel like you're going to see that in the Bulls game. Maybe the Bulls will be a little bit more aggressive because and maybe Atlanta too, because they've kind of gone through it. So maybe they don't feel like they're going to get it again. But I just think until this kind of all blows over and you're not getting 50, 60 people a day on the COVID list, you're going to see defense be a little bit less aggressive because they just don't want to have, a ton of body contact.
And any other theory with that too is you have some guys out. So you got the backup guys, and some backup guys, they may be a great offensive player, but they're not good defensively, and that's why they don't get on the court. So that could be another reason too. So what's the total on that one?
Total in the Bulls game is 227, and I'm getting the over for 227.5 for -110.
Yeah, and you got Trae Young back for that one, second game back. So yeah, they should put up some points.
Well, I'm hoping that 227 is, for this year, that's been borderline way too high. Any other NBA plays for you, Sean?
No more NBA plays.
All right. So for me, it's just the over in the Bulls game. We both agree on Memphis giving 5.5 to the old Lakers coming in off of a tough win in Houston last night. Off to the college bowl games. Sean, what do you like in 2 bowl games? I don't really like either one. If I were going to pick one, I would probably pick Iowa State to money line them. They're like +110, I think, on the money line. And the reason is that Clemson offense has been god-awful all year long. Maybe they're going to get a little better now. I don't know. But the defense that they're facing in Iowa State is one of the top defenses in all of football. So maybe really the number there is to go on the under because you have an offensively challenged 2 teams there. But, it's +110 if you take Iowa State on the money line. I'm not going to do it, but that'd be the only bet I'd think about making.
So I have a heavy lean on Clemson actually there. Their offense started getting a little bit better at the end of the year. It was nothing great, but it was getting better.
It went from awful to bad.
Yeah, but it was, with their defense, and they only need an okay offense. And Iowa State's been overrated all year. They've been overrated the last couple of years. Their defense is solid, yes.
Right.
But
so as long as they can, you got a good defense against a bad offense. It should keep the game close, right?
Yeah, I just don't know how much Iowa State's offense is going to do against Clemson either.
Score 10 points and they win, Sean.
No, I don't know. But the one I do love here is Oklahoma giving up. I jinxed it. Oklahoma giving up 7 to Oregon. Oregon's decimated with players. I know Oklahoma's missing some. They had the whole thing with the coach, but then you got Bob Stoops coming back just to coach the team for the bowl game. So they should be fired up for that. He's going to be fired up.
Riled up. Bob Stoops. Probably half the kids don't know who he is.
But I'm going to take Oklahoma giving up the 7. Oregon's another team that's been overrated kind of all year. When they've had their big games, they've gotten blown out. So
except Ohio State, but Ohio State proved not to be that good either. So Oregon is only taking 28% of the bet, Sean, but they're taking in 2/3 of the money with that touchdown. So hopefully you're the smart money on the other side of that bet. So not the dumb one. I can't bet either game. If I were going to bet the game between Oklahoma and Oregon, I would probably side with you and go with Oklahoma. But at the same time, Oklahoma is another one of those teams that on paper, it looks like they got a lot of good defenders and stuff, right? But so they're supposed to have this dominant front 7, but when they get in the game, they're anything but dominant. They're pretty bad, actually. Maybe they just don't play well as a group. I don't know. Maybe individually, these guys are going to get drafted and play very well in the NFL, but as a group, they play pretty horribly.
Yeah, and their offense has been inconsistent all year long too. But hopefully tonight, like I said, Oregon's missing a ton of players. So if you've noticed in the bowl games, usually, the NBA, you get that where you get a ton of players out, and now it's getting worse. But usually you miss that 1 or 2 players and the line overreacts, and it really overreacted for the wrong reasons. So far, these bowl games, you're seeing with the Maryland game right now, they're up a ton on Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech didn't have a bunch of players. Right. We've seen it yesterday. We took Mississippi State. I didn't realize, I don't know when those players were ruled out, but they were missing some key players. And they lost by 27, and they were favored by 10. So when you're missing these key players right now in bowl season, go the other way.
For sure. Now into college basketball, Sean. I don't know what to tell you. I keep defying my own rules only to pay a heavy price for defying my own rules, Sean. So tonight, guess what I'm going to do?
Well, maybe you're going to take Syracuse because they're at home and they're favored by double digits.
No, I'm not going to take
No.
Syracuse. I wouldn't mind taking Syracuse, but no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take teams on the road again. Yes, I know. I'm killing myself, but I'm only going to take one team, Sean, tonight, and that's Hofstra against William and Mary. William and Mary can't score. They can't stop people from scoring. I know Hofstra is a 15-point favorite, but I have them winning this game by about 25 to 25 points at least. So I'm going to take Hofstra. I'm going to lay the 15, Sean. I'm going to go crazy here. A couple of other games I was thinking about. Toledo, they're playing a pretty bad Western Michigan team. And LSU against Auburn. LSU has all of the statistical advantages, much like we saw last night with Notre Dame. They did manage to win, but they didn't cover. But the only game I'm going to do tonight, Hofstra, in NCAA hoops, they're going to win by more than 15, Sean.
Yeah, I got nothing. But what I do find interesting, you said about Syracuse and not being really – Georgia's at home, and they're only favored by 7 over Gardner-Webb.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, you'd say, well, that's because they don't play any defense, Georgia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and they used to be a defensive team that didn't score very good. Now they can't guard anybody.
Well, that's how it goes sometimes. So I'm kind of with you. I like I don't know. I couldn't do anything in that game. Another couple games I was looking at where I have heavy leans. I said Toledo, LSU. I have some heavy leans on, and then later on in the night, Tennessee. A little bit of a heavy lean on Tennessee at Alabama. Alabama started off really well, beat some good teams, had that big win against Gonzaga, but they're not playing like that right now. So maybe they peaked. Memphis against Tulane. I was looking at that, but Memphis, Tulane's had a lot of close losses. So maybe 6.5 is too many points for Memphis there. I don't know. Simulator says take Memphis, but I'm not. The only game, again, I'm going to take is Hofstra.
Yeah, I got nothing, but you talk about the Tennessee-Alabama game. I think you could do possibly a strong lean on the over there at 148.5. They both like to score.
They like to get up and down the court, huh?
Yeah. So if they both get to 75, then the over is good. So I would lean there.
All right. Well, I have college football still up there, and we're talking college basketball. All right, Sean, that wraps up today's stuff. Unfortunately, there's no NFL tomorrow. We'll be back, I guess, tomorrow for the same routine. Friday night, we'll be back to talk about NFL Week 16, right? It's normally the last week of the year is now.
Week 17.
This week 17 coming up.
It's week 17, which is usually the last week. But, yeah. And Drew checked in. What's up, Drew?
What's happening, my man? How are you? What's new? What's new with Drew?
Yeah, right? It's weird that it's week 17. You don't have really anybody resting, which is a good thing. And it's not the end of the year. You got one more week after this.
One more, and then the playoffs. So that'll be fun, too. All the playoff bets along the way.
It will be interesting to see how many people clinch and what everybody's strategy is for week 18 as well.
Well, I think if you clinch, there's so many seeds available, though, still, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think you still want to play if you can at home.
And then you're going to you only get that one team that gets the bye, too, which we'll see if that's wrapped up by the end of this week or not.
I don't think it can be.
Well, I'm sure Green Bay can if they win.
No, they can't. Because if the Cowboys win out and Green Bay has to win out because the Cowboys have a better record in the division than the Green Bay does. Or in the conference. They have a better conference. Because Green Bay has 2 conference losses and the Cowboys have 1.
But if Green
Bay wins out, they clinch it, but they have to win out.
Right, but they have 3 losses. Everybody else has 4. So if Green Bay wins and the other teams lose, they would technically be able to clinch it. But it's not going to happen anyway.
Well, I don't know who the Cowboys play this weekend. Maybe the Giants or something. I don't know. No, they play Atlanta, I think. Or Arizona. Could be a loss for
Arizona, yeah. But it's in Dallas, so we'll see.
That doesn't mean anything.
Arizona, that could be another loss, and then you're really –
But, these things ebb and flow, Sean, right? You get too high on teams when they're doing too well, and you get too low on teams when they suck. Right now, Arizona sucks, but that bounce back is coming sooner or later.
The other one, I was on San Francisco. San Francisco, they better watch it, or they're not going to go to the playoffs either.
Probably not.
Because they got
and apparently they don't want Jimmy Garoppolo to leave Tennessee either. The Brian Lynch. Did you see that?
No.
Someone tweeted out that they should leave Jimmy Garoppolo behind in Tennessee when they lost, and he liked the tweet.
John, yes, I did see that. Yep.
Leave him behind.
Accidentally liked the tweet.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, that's like when the people who type some really crazy shit, they get busted and I got hacked. right?
Yep,
Get
exactly.
out of here. You got hacked. Just own up to it. Say I'm nuts. I wrote the crazy stuff. And, to me, you write the crazy stuff, right? And then when people call you out for it, I got hacked. So you come up with some real BS stuff. I mean, it's BS. So it makes you look doubly weak, right?
Yep.
Just man up or women up and say, yeah, I did it. So what? If you don't like my opinion, go look at somebody else's Twitter feed.
Yeah, it just starts a downward spiral as soon as you don't admit your mistake, and then it just keeps rolling. So
yeah, you never bend the knee to the mob. That's otherwise you'll be on both of your knees begging for your life. In any case, Sean, really quick recap what it is that you're going to do tonight with all of your bankrolls.
Well, I kept it to 3, and you outpicked me, so it should be a successful night.
Usually I have a great night when I outpick you too.
Well, I have a good night when I keep it to a few picks, so we're good. Memphis giving up 5.5 to the Lakers, which you agree. Mm-hmm. Dallas giving up 1.5 to Sacramento. And then in college football, Oklahoma giving up a touchdown to Oregon.
And for me, I'm off the college football games. I have I like the Memphis, like Sean said, at -5.5. I'm also going to take the over in the Bulls game, which is 227.5 against Atlanta. I'm going to go with Hofstra in college basketball. And what else?
No, you know what? That's it, because I got to cross off Utah, because you had Utah, but then with Donovan Mitchell being out, you are.
So I didn't outpick you.
Nope, you picked the same amount. So we're both going to go 3-0 this week, tonight.
6-0 tonight. That would be awesome. That would be a perfect night. Drew, Sean, and I agree on Memphis against the Lakers. You want to join us on that to make it a 3 for 3? Usually those win.
We need to start a new streak on that.
Absolutely, 100% we do. All right, Sean, if folks want to follow along or share their picks, what should they do?
Facebook, Twitter, Moneyline Madmen, and then you go to their website, moneylinemadmen.com. Takes less than a minute, probably less than 30 seconds to sign up. We're not going to spam you or nothing, and just Drew's in. Just share your picks, look at our picks, and follow along like Drew and take Memphis giving up 5.5 to those Lakers. Everybody likes rooting against the Lakers anyway, so why not put money on it and take Memphis?
Even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is rooting against the Lakers now. Because the Spider-Man memes.
Yeah,
everybody's banging on the. I mean, just you think about how this world is, how the press is, right? A few months ago, LeBron was, had the crown on, quite literally was King James, was very biblical with the press, and now the dude comes out and he criticizes some of the, the reaction to COVID, and everybody piles on all of a sudden. The 2-month-ago hero is now the today GOAT, but not in the greatest of all time sense, but in the you actually suck, dude. Shut up. That's why you don't bend your knee to the mob, Sean.
Yeah, it's quick. It's amazing how quick that can turn. Yeah. And then, we don't want to go, but now we're changing sports from 10 days to 5 days, and as long as symptoms are feeling better, it's really starting to not make any sense. So.
Well, there are those who said it never made sense from the beginning.
Right,
so,
yeah.
It never made sense from the beginning. I mean, I don't really want to get off on this, but why in the world with people who have almost no risk, why are you going to force them to do something? What you should do in any situation if you're in management, right? You have mission critical things. You're in management, right? At work. Mm-hmm. So you have mission critical stuff. You don't say, I'm going to take all the BS that doesn't matter and I'm going to lump it in with the mission critical things. Right. So if you have to put out a list of priorities as a manager, you're going to put your top priority first. Right.
Right.
And you have the stuff that, well, if I get to it, I get to it, but it doesn't really matter. Right.
Correct.
So if that works in every single company in the world, even in your household, in every single household, that's how things get done. But all of a sudden you have something and it doesn't get done like that. It's a one size fits all. That's just crap. Man.
Yeah.
LeBron is out with a broken nail. That doesn't surprise me. I thought you were going to say ego because he's got all these people banging on him now, and he's so used to getting nothing but love. So that makes that Memphis line. You better get in there and bet that quick, Sean, for real, because it's going to run. I did bet it already.
Yeah, I'll be up to -10.5.
Yeah, probably. So it'll double for sure. All right, Sean, I'll see you in 23-3. Hopefully, if you like what you saw, you'll join us on Moneyline Madmen. You'll give us a thumbs up on Facebook. You'll subscribe on YouTube. We're trying to hit that 100 mark so we can get the vanity URL. We'd greatly appreciate your support with that. So tell your friends about us. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Go Hofstra. Give me a road winner in the NCAA. Until then, everybody, may all of your bets stuff your pockets full of that filthy, dirty, rotten, capitalistic cash.